At approximately 4 o'clock on the afternoon of July 4th, a frightened young caller contacted SeaTow from the western end of Horn Island, Mississippi. His boat was reportedly taking on water. Several people could be heard speaking in the background, and the situation sounded confused, urgent, and chaotic. During the call, the dispatcher asked a simple question.
SeaTow Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkinson. I think it's Jerry Atkinson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here.
Unless you have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm available.
North 30 degrees by 4672.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
Yeah, we do not have a VHF radio.
All right. Well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right. It looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
yes,
on Horn
Island? Yes.
All right. Is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right. Have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right. Where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Oh, right.
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And, again, I couldn't find he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it was just under Jerry fee-for-service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to, if you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm gonna send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one. Okay, he's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, and yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right, transfer him now. Thank you again, Captain.
All
Stay
righty.
safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty.
10-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells would be reported missing. 2 days later, his body would be found in the waters near Horn Island. Now, after officials release the recording, thousands of listeners believe they can hear something disturbing beneath the noise. Some claim a voice can be heard calling out, "Nolan." Others believe someone asks, "Is he dead?" While some insist the words are, "He's dead." But are those words truly present in the recording? And even if they are, what would they actually prove? This is where the Nolan Wells investigation becomes more complicated, because the recording appears to raise questions about the account given concerning Nolan's final known movements. However, before examining those questions, one fact must remain clear. No one has been arrested or charged in connection with Nolan's death. Authorities have not officially classified his death as a homicide. The preliminary findings from the family's independent autopsy listed both the cause and manner of death as undetermined, and the official investigation remains active. These facts are important because uncertainty should not be treated as proof of murder. But uncertainty should also not be used to silence legitimate questions. The newly released recording is not a traditional 911 call. It is a call made to SeaTow, a private marine assistance company, at approximately 4 o'clock on July 4th. The caller reports that the boat's bilge pump has stopped working and that the vessel is taking on water near the western end of Horn Island. He urgently tells the dispatcher that the boat is sinking and asks for help. The dispatcher asks how much water is entering the vessel, and the caller responds that the boat is going down. He then provides coordinates near the northwestern end of the island and asks for the vessel to be pumped out and towed back toward the Fort Bayou launch area. During the call, the caller estimates that approximately 7 people are aboard. The most heavily debated part of the call comes when the dispatcher asks whether everyone is on board and otherwise in good health. The caller responds, Yeah, everyone is on board. That answer has generated intense discussion because the account publicly attributed to some of Nolan's friends is that Nolan voluntarily remained behind on Horn Island after the group departed. According to that explanation, Nolan wanted to stay with a young woman he had met on the island and expected to return to the mainland aboard another vessel. Nolan's parents have strongly questioned that account. They have said it would have been out of character for their son to separate from his group, especially without taking his phone. At first, the caller's statement that everyone was on board appears to contradict the claim that Nolan remained behind. However, the meaning of the word everyone depends heavily on context. The dispatcher may have been asking whether everyone involved in the immediate boat emergency was aboard the vessel. The caller may have understood the question in exactly that way. The statement does not automatically establish that Nolan was on the boat, but it also does not prove he was absent. Without a confirmed passenger list, an exact timeline, and the verified identity of every person aboard, the statement cannot prove more than the words themselves support. The background voices are what have transformed the recording into a major development. Before and during parts of the call, music, movement, and overlapping voices can be heard. Online listeners have isolated, slowed down, and filtered portions of the audio. Some believe Nolan's name is clearly audible. Others say they hear the name Bart. Some believe someone says, "Oh my God." The most disturbing interpretations claim that someone asks, "Is he dead?" or states, "He's dead." These interpretations may be important, but they have not yet been forensically confirmed. Audio evidence can be highly persuasive, but unclear audio can also be extremely misleading. Once listeners are told what a faint voice is supposed to be saying, their brains may begin interpreting the sound according to that suggestion. One person may hear the name Nolan, another may hear a completely different word, while another may hear nothing beyond background noise. This does not mean the disturbing phrases are definitely imaginary. It means a caption on social media cannot replace professional forensic audio analysis. A qualified forensic audio examiner would need the original, highest quality version of the recording, rather than a compressed repost, screen recording, or edited viral clip. The expert would preserve the untouched original, document every change made during enhancement, examine the sound frequencies, separate overlapping voices where possible, and determine whether any filtering process created misleading audio artifacts. Excessive enhancement can sometimes alter sounds until they appear to form words that were not clearly present in the original recording. The Wells family's legal team has reportedly retained audio specialists to examine the official recording in its full form. Until that analysis is completed and explained, the responsible conclusion is that some listeners believe the audio contains Nolan's name and phrases suggesting distress or death, but those interpretations have not been officially confirmed. Even if an expert eventually confirms that someone says Nolan, that would only prove that Nolan's name was spoken during the SeaTow call. Investigators would still need to determine who said it, why the name was mentioned, where Nolan was at that exact moment, and whether the speaker was referring to Nolan Xavier Wells. If an expert confirms the phrase, "Is he dead?" that would be more serious, but it would still require context. Investigators would need to know who was being discussed, Whether the statement was a question, a misunderstanding, a joke, a reaction to something happening nearby, or a direct reference to Nolan. Context is what transforms words into reliable evidence. Without context, even a disturbing phrase can be misinterpreted. If forensic analysis concludes that the alleged phrases cannot be reliably identified, that would not explain how Nolan died. It would only remove one disputed issue from a much larger investigation. The broad timeline of the case is established. Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old student and college football player from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. On July 4th, he traveled by boat to Horn Island with friends for an Independence Day gathering. Horn Island is a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The island has no permanent public facilities, regular communication services, drinking water, or reliable shelter. It can only be reached by boat, and the surrounding water conditions can change quickly. At approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the SeaTow call was placed during the reported boat emergency. The towing request was later canceled, and SeaTow did not tow the vessel back to shore. Nolan did not return to the mainland with the group. He was reported missing later that night. A search began involving law enforcement officers, members of Nolan's family, his football coach, and people from the local community. On the morning of July 6th, a park ranger found Nolan's body in the water near the northwestern end of Horn Island. He was reportedly found face down and wearing swim trunks. Those facts establish where the investigation begins, but they do not explain how Nolan died. Some of the friends reportedly maintained that Nolan voluntarily stayed behind and planned to obtain another ride. Nolan's parents have rejected that explanation and have emphasized that Nolan's phone returned to the mainland without him. They have also said that separating from his group in that manner would have gone against what they taught him. Every account must now be tested against objective evidence. Investigators should examine phone location records, deleted and recovered messages, photographs, videos, boat movements, GPS coordinates, witness interviews, weather conditions, water currents, alcohol consumption, environmental hazards, and forensic findings. No witness statement should automatically be accepted as complete, but no family belief, however sincere, can independently establish what happened. Every claim must be checked against evidence. The family's independent autopsy has raised another set of questions. Dr. Roger Mitchell, the forensic pathologist who conducted the independent examination, classified both Nolan's cause and manner of death as undetermined pending further investigation. Undetermined does not mean homicide. It also does not confirm accidental drowning. It means the available evidence was insufficient to reliably classify the death. The independent examination reportedly found no fractures and no other confirmed deep tissue injuries. However, Dr. Mitchell identified an area of red discoloration within the deep tissue at the back of Nolan's head. The cause and significance of that discoloration were inconclusive and required further investigation. That finding should not be ignored, but it should also not automatically be described as proof that Nolan suffered a fatal blow to the head. Discoloration may have several possible causes, and only a complete forensic analysis can determine whether it represents trauma, post-mortem change, or another process. The independent examination also faced major limitations. Nolan's body had undergone decomposition, and the Mississippi State Medical Examiner had already performed the original autopsy. Nolan's internal organs, including his lungs, were not available for direct re-examination by Dr. Mitchell. Parts of the internal structures of Nolan's neck were also not available during the independent examination. Because those structures were unavailable, Dr. Mitchell could not independently determine whether a neck injury contributed to Nolan's death. The absence of the lungs and airway also prevented him from personally examining those organs for evidence that could help confirm or exclude drowning. However, one claim circulating online must be corrected. The retention of organs or internal neck structures during an initial forensic autopsy is not automatically evidence of wrongdoing, destruction of evidence, or a cover-up. Medical examiners sometimes retain tissues, organs, or neck structures for additional testing, microscopic analysis, and further examination. The important questions are which structures were retained, why they were retained, what examinations were performed, what findings were documented, and whether photographs, tissue samples, slides, and reports were preserved for independent review. The correct question is not whether someone secretly removed Nolan's throat. There is currently no verified evidence supporting that accusation. The appropriate questions are whether the relevant structures were properly documented, whether the original medical examiner examined them thoroughly, and whether Dr. Mitchell and other experts will be allowed to review the retained materials and related evidence. The official medical examiner's findings and the toxicology results have not been fully released to the public. Therefore, people outside the official investigation do not have the complete forensic picture. Until those reports are available, conclusions about drowning, strangulation, blunt force trauma, intoxication, or any other cause should be treated as possibilities rather than established facts. The phrase foul play cannot be ruled out has also been widely misunderstood. It means the independent pathologist did not have enough evidence to exclude non-accidental factors. That is significant, especially because early public discussions appeared to lean toward accidental drowning. But the phrase does not mean foul play has been confirmed. It means investigators must continue examining multiple possible explanations. One possibility is that Nolan voluntarily stayed on the island and later drowned accidentally. Another is that an accident connected to the boat emergency, the water conditions, alcohol, a medical event, an injury, or some other unexpected situation contributed to his death. A third possibility is that an altercation or encounter caused or contributed to his death. A fourth possibility is that something entirely different occurred and has not yet been made public. As of now, no publicly identified person has been charged with causing Nolan's death. Online accusations have already reportedly led to threats against people associated with the case. That does not help the search for truth. Threats can frighten witnesses, contaminate memories, create false statements, and punish people before the evidence has been tested. Demanding answers is not the same as declaring someone guilty. Justice requires urgency, but it also requires fairness and discipline. The SeaTow recording matters for several reasons. First, it establishes a documented moment in the timeline. At approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the vessel was near the western or northwestern end of Horn Island, taking on water, with approximately 7 people reported aboard. Second, the recording captures the emotional atmosphere surrounding the emergency. The scene sounded chaotic, and the caller appeared focused on preventing the boat from sinking. Third, the background audio may contain information that was not preserved in later interviews or written statements. Investigators should compare the original recording with vessel GPS data, phone location records, videos, photographs, message timestamps, and witness accounts. If a voice can be identified, the words spoken by that person should be compared with their documented location and later statements. If approximately 7 people were aboard, investigators must determine the identity of all 7 individuals. If Nolan was one of the 7 people aboard during the call, that could seriously challenge the claim that he had already chosen to remain on Horn Island. If Nolan was not among the 7, the recording may support the account that he separated from the group before the emergency occurred. If the separation happened while the call was taking place, the background audio could become extremely important. The identity of the last confirmed person to see Nolan alive is also crucial. Investigators must determine when Nolan was last physically seen, who saw him, where he was located, and whether that account is supported by digital evidence. The fact that Nolan's phone returned to the mainland without him requires explanation. Investigators must determine who had possession of the phone, when it left the island, whether it was intentionally left behind, and whether the device contains messages, photographs, or location information capable of clarifying Nolan's movements. The completed investigation is expected to be presented to a grand jury. A grand jury does not decide whether someone is guilty. Its role is to determine whether sufficient probable cause exists to bring criminal charges. Presenting the case to a grand jury also does not automatically mean authorities have concluded that a crime occurred. Grand jury review may be part of the procedure used for suspicious, unexplained, or unnatural deaths. To properly assess the case, the grand jury may need access to the complete official autopsy report, toxicology results, the independent autopsy, retained tissue samples, medical photographs, forensic audio analysis, mobile phone extractions, vessel information, location data, and credible witness testimony. The question will not be whether an online theory sounds convincing. The question will be whether reliable and corroborated evidence establishes what happened and whether any person may be criminally responsible. So, what is currently confirmed? Nolan Wells traveled to Horn Island on July 4th and did not return with his group. A SeaTow call was placed at approximately 4 o'clock reporting a boat taking on water and a failed bilge pump. The caller estimated that approximately 7 people were aboard. When asked whether everyone was on board and otherwise healthy, the caller answered yes. Nolan was reported missing later that night. His body was found near Horn Island on July 6th. The preliminary independent autopsy classified his cause and manner of death as undetermined. The independent examination was limited by decomposition, the earlier autopsy, and the unavailability of certain organs and neck structures. The independent pathologist could not exclude non-accidental factors. The official investigation remains active, and the case is expected to be reviewed by a grand jury. What remains unconfirmed is equally important. It has not been officially established that the background audio contains the words, "He's dead," "Is he dead?" or a clear call of Nolan's name. It has not been established that any such phrase, if present, refers to Nolan Wells. The recording does not currently prove Nolan was aboard the boat when the call was placed. It does not prove that Nolan was murdered. It does not prove that any publicly discussed individual is responsible for his death. These distinctions may not produce the fastest viral conclusion, but they are the only responsible foundation for covering the unexplained death of a real young man. Nolan Xavier Wells was not merely a theory, a trending hashtag, or a faint voice inside a recording. He was an 18-year-old son, friend, student, and athlete, whose family watched him leave for an Independence Day outing and never saw him return alive. The recording raises legitimate questions. Why did the caller say everyone was aboard? Who exactly were the 7 people? Can forensic experts identify the background voices? Where was Nolan at approximately 4 o'clock? Who was the last confirmed person to see him alive? Why did his phone return to the mainland without him? What will the official autopsy and toxicology results reveal? Can the retained neck structures, medical photographs, and tissue samples answer the questions the independent examination could not? Until those questions are answered, uncertainty must not be weaponized in either direction. It must not be used to dismiss the concerns of Nolan's family, and it must not be used to accuse uncharged people of murder. Every claim should be tested by the same standard. Verify the source, preserve the original evidence, identify who made each statement, compare the statement with the timeline, and clearly admit what remains unknown. Somewhere inside the SeaTow call, the phone records, the forensic evidence, and the memories of the people who were present is a sequence of events. Not a rumor, not an edited social media clip, and not an online theory, but a real sequence showing what happened to Nolan Xavier Wells. That sequence is the truth Nolan's family is still waiting to hear. Which part of the timeline do you believe investigators must clarify first? Share your opinion respectfully, but do not threaten, identify, or accuse private individuals. The investigation remains active, and no one has been convicted of causing Nolan Wells' death. Subscribe for the next verified update.